Trip After Party on the Power Trip Podcast Network.
And welcome to the After Party Podcast. It is 8:59 on the 8th of June, 2020. What a weird year. What a year. What a year, Ben. What a year.
What a year.
Ben Lieber and Zach and I are here right now waiting on Corey. And I believe Sauce fell down and broke his crown. So I don't know if he'll be joining us during the after party today or not. Not sure.
He's probably pooping.
He might be pooping. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad
so
I drove
maybe he's
in
crowning.
For this.
Yeah.
Thank you for waiting for me. And
You're welcome. Yeah, how was your day?
it was pretty weird, you know.
Around? Yeah, right.
It was very hot,
It's very hot outside.
I'm sure.
Do you like the heat, Ben?
I don't like the heat, but I know that it's only around for a day.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
I'm fine with it.
I'm usually okay with it like the second time it's this hot. Like after I'm used to it a little bit, you know. I always made it an effort, even when I was a kid. For some reason, like I did this. I don't even know how I knew. Maybe my grandpa, somebody must have told me to do this. But like the first day it's really, really hot, I do something like mow the yard or something like that where I have to be out in it and I can just be goddamn miserable. But I think it acclimates you to it. It's the same thing with when it's really cold. Like I'll make sure I'm outside on the first minus 30 in the wind day so I can just acclimate myself to being cold.
Yeah.
I don't know if that works or not, but it
Yeah, I've
works
never
for
really
me.
had a strategy to it. I just, I guess if I'm looking forward at the forecast and I have to do outdoor projects, I do make sure to avoid the hot days. I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should get it done today because tomorrow's going to be hot. So I do a little bit of that, but I don't really like, I guess I kind of,
Yeah.
I guess in a way I kind of avoid it.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
But again, if this whole week was going to be hot, then I'm like, well, just, I don't know, I can't avoid it. Like, just fuck it. I'll just go do whatever I want to do.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's going to be around for one day and we're going to drop like 20 degrees by tomorrow, I think I'll just avoid the heat.
I'm not breaking any news or inventing any initials game or anything like that, but a fun game that Abby and I still play together that I encourage you to play with your kids. Get a buttload of water balloons, fill them up, put them in a cooler so they stay, relatively good. Get like 60 of them, something like that, and then play water balloon toss with your kids until one of them bursts. And you fill them up to the point where they're almost ready to burst as soon as you throw them anyway.
Right.
But it's fun because if you let them throw first, you can make it so they burst on you and the kids just laugh and it cools them off. It's fun. Water balloon toss. Fun game, inexpensive, and it's good.
We used to do that just with eggs.
Did you really? That sounds stinky to me.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Water balloon toss.
It's they have you seen the new water balloons though? Like the 100-pack
Yeah.
thing?
It's genius.
Those things are awesome.
I freaking love it. Man, blowing up water balloons was the biggest pain in the ass when you were little. And those new things, those 100 they're up, 15 seconds? You got 100 water balloons?
Yeah. Yeah, you might have a few that kind of burst a little bit.
couple.
Yeah, a couple.
Who cares?
Yeah.
What a genius idea.
Yeah, even if 10% of them don't make it, you get 90 balloons
Hell yeah, man.
in a matter of like 30 seconds.
Think of the engineer that came up with that. Somebody's like, I'm so tired. There's got to be a better way to do this.
Yeah.
And some engineer designed that trick, and it's just freaking awesome.
And the best part about it, they're biodegradable. You don't have to pick all of them up.
Oh, I didn't
really?
know that.
Yeah.
Did not know that.
I did not know
Yeah.
that either. I need to buy more
Yeah,
of those.
save yourself some more time.
Did not know that. Crazy.
Yeah, my kids love those things.
All right, so are you ready for this taste test? So I made a very controversial remark about a week ago that as much as I love Pringles, I think Lay's stacks are better.
Okay.
This isn't like a paid endorsement, and by the way, I'm not like neither one of them is a client of the station or paying me or paying anybody here. And for the record, I like them both, right? But everybody knows Pringles. These Lay's stacks, I think, are legitimately better. Like maybe significantly better. Do you like sour cream and onion chips in general, Chris? Yes or no?
I do. They make my breath smell bad, but I do
Yes,
enjoy
they
them.
do.
I do.
All right, so turn around, Zach. You give him one of each.
Every now and then.
Don't tell him which one is which. Shake them up, mix them up.
Do they feel the same, if you know what I mean? Like, none of them have ridges, right?
No, they're similar. They're similar feel from the outside.
And I'm supposed to tell you if I know
Oh,
this.
shit.
Oh, God.
Okay, we're good. We're good.
What the hell just
What happened?
You went to go peel
The little lip came off, but we're good. We're good. Everything's good.
All right, so give him one and let him try one.
Which one should I give him?
Doesn't
first?
matter.
Okay.
Just so he doesn't know.
And so I'm supposed to determine whether it's a Pringle or not a
No,
Pringle.
you're gonna tell me which one's better.
Oh,
So
yeah.
just here's chip number one. Chip number one. Chip number one. Don't look. No peeking. No peeking.
Okay.
Okay, that's chip number one. Give it a second.
Number one,
I like
number
it.
two.
It didn't hit me right away.
Number one.
Sour cream came in a
number
little
two.
late, and but it's good. I would say that's good.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Chip number two.
Much stronger. That one's more violent. I would say that one's violent. I'm going to say I would choose chip number one, and number one was the Pringle.
Chip number one is Stacks.
No kidding? Are you shitting me?
No.
We should be filming this right now for Frito-Lay. My
Wow.
God.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Whoa.
So the one that I liked was the Stacks.
Stacks.
And
No
what did you?
shit.
It's better, man.
And you liked the flavor profile?
I
better?
liked it because it wasn't so violent. I mean, the Pringles just hit me out of just like in the face with sour and cream.
The
and
Stacks
onion.
is the right ratio, and I
Right.
think it's crispier. It's got like a less greasy feel to it.
I'm going to agree with you. with you.
Ben, you want to try, or are you not a sour cream and onion guy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Zach, have you tried it yet?
No.
But you know what they both look like, right? So if you grab them, do you think you would know which one is which?
I mean, I felt it when I was giving it to him, and
I couldn't tell the
I couldn't
texture.
feel the difference.
They felt the exact same. To me.
Okay.
All right.
Right.
I'll switch them.
All right, you do it. Close your damn eyeballs.
Jeez,
not a chip.
This whole thing's falling
God, you guys
apart.
Is it
broke.
not? Yeah, I did that. I haven't
we
put it
go.
back together yet. That's because I don't have a
keep my
thingy. So, do you not like sour cream? Are you just not a chip guy? What are you just not feeling like it right now?
I'm doing my intermittent fasting, so
gotcha.
I don't want any
nice.
food right now.
Yeah, right. How long do you go?
I'll go till noon today.
Okay.
So it'll be 15 hours ish. Yeah.
All right, that's chip
He's
one.
got chip number one. He's chewing, as you can hear.
Yeah, get closer to the mic.
It's
when
weird.
you chew.
It's weird that.
Okay, ready? That's one. Your thoughts? So good. Yes.
Yeah, do you
Here.
Yeah, I like it. I
Here's,
like it.
Here's chip two.
Here's chip two. As you chew
I
that,
don't know why it's so creepy listening to
Right.
him chew.
as you
with
chew
his
that
eyes
one,
closed.
If it tastes a little familiar, I rub that one on my ball sack right before you put it in your
I
mouth.
can taste the grace.
Sour cream's pretty subtle.
One's a little
Different
bit
kind of sour
thicker
cream.
than the other, which I like.
Oh yeah.
The other one's a little bit too thin. The first one was the thicker one, and that was a good. I like both. Don't get me wrong. I like both. I don't want my eyes
You
so
don't.
closed.
Yeah, you don't have to keep your eyes closed.
Yeah,
Your
your
eyes
eyes
are
either.
closed.
We know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to imagine the flavors.
Yeah.
But I do like one a little bit more than the other. Was the first one, and I think it was the Stacks because I'm not used to it, but I don't know for sure.
But you're leaning. You like the
You're
first
leaning
one
Like
better.
the first one, yep.
That was Stacks.
Wow.
Wow, we both like the Stacks better.
It's the right answer. It's just better.
No shit.
Wow.
So who makes Pringles?
The Pringle Company.
I think Pringles is it General Mills? Is Pringles
No.
General Mills? No. Is it Coca-Cola?
Manufactured by Pringles Manufacturing Company,
Oh, wow.
Jackson,
Yeah,
Tennessee.
they're self.
Wow.
Oh, so they're like a Dr. Pepper.
No kidding. Well, I'm
Pretty
gonna
much, yeah.
I'm gonna grab me some Stacks then. Stacks of hot
Grab
wax.
yourself some.
Yeah.
And it looks
Stacks
like
are
it's
legit,
easier to
man.
get them out of there as well. Is that? Would you agree that it's an easier container
For now.
to negotiate
For now,
until it gets down deep
You
in
get
there?
the same problem at the bottom, right? It's always once you get halfway down, you just got to dump them upside down.
Yeah, but you're halfway there. You might as well go all the way.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be nice if they had like a little, like if the bottom pushed up like a push pop?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Call Stacks.
Call the guy that did the 100 water balloon thing and have him engineer the Stacks.
Yes, they just put an
bottle.
opening at the bottom too.
Yeah. Then we have a Frito-Lay. Yeah, we
I
should,
guess the bottom then would become the top.
yeah, we should contact this number.
Or yeah,
Oh my God.
yeah.
What?
Copyright 2007.
What?
It says 2007 on there.
The bottle?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Stacks
that's when they applied for the
themselves.
copyright, not when they made
Well,
the
No, I don't
thank
think
God.
that's the expiration date.
Hey, you still thought it was better than Pringles?
Well, yeah, it's
13-year-old chips.
even more of a hit to Pringles.
Yeah.
Very sour chip.
Stacks,
There
man.
you go. Stacks.
Stacks is it.
How can? Do you want to try it?
If I can figure it out, I
Yeah.
can try.
All right, good.
I'll go for
Here
it.
he goes. Now it's Saucy's. No, you're not Saucy. You're Corey. Corey's chance to try to figure out which chip is which. Who's zooming who on the Power Chip Morning Show right now? As he's fishing out a chip. Now he's fishing out the other chip as well. Though he's got one in each hand. He's not going to say which one is which.
Yeah.
He's going to hand.
broken.
That one's
We're
a
doing a
broken
really
one.
good job with this
Mine.
social distancing.
Oh, that's true too. Yeah, making sure
everybody's fingers touching
Great
stuff.
point.
Yeah, quit fingering that
All right, here
bottle.
we go. Here comes
Yeah.
a
Close your
chip.
eyes.
His eyes are closed, and
Dun, dun, dun,
there's the
dun.
first chip that goes into Corey's mouth right now. He's chewing.
He knows.
Yeah, he's
he
chewing.
already knows.
He seems to know. He seems very confident right now. Okay.
Okay.
He swallows. Second
good
chip
for him.
going into his mouth right now. He's chewing it as well. He's got a look of confidence on his mouth.
Pretty sure Pringles is the second one.
Yep.
Yep. You're
Pringles
right.
was the second one. You're right. Stacks. So which one do you prefer?
Yeah, Stacks are
Stacks
better.
is better.
Stacks are better.
Stacks is better.
It is unanimous.
Unanimous. Some bitch.
Some
would've known?
bitch.
Who would have known?
Well, whoever works at Lay's that came up with that deserves a raise.
He's
Well,
damn
that's
right.
the whole right. See, competition breeds, quality, right?
Innovation.
Yeah, come on. No more monopolies.
It's crazy how they make these because it's basically this giant sheet of because it's all flat. And then they cut them and then they bake them. They all they rise naturally.
Really?
It's really cool. And then there's testers. There's actual people who are paid. They have a huge quality control on Pringles.
Right.
They have multiple testers that their job is to sit there all day and taste them. And if there's any problem, they throw out the whole batch and start over.
Wow.
So
Those people must weigh 1,000 pounds.
Yeah, and they
Just
must hate
eating
chips.
Pringles all day.
This lady had been doing it for 25 years. They interviewed her, and she is not too big.
Have you guys ever
It's
seen
doable.
those? Have you guys ever seen those ice cream testers? I don't know if it's the guy. I
How do I
watched
get
something
that
similar,
job?
similar
That
to
does
what
seem
you're talking
familiar,
about,
yeah.
but I don't know if it was for Ben and Jerry's or what company it was for. Blue Bunny, I don't know. Anyway, the way that he would taste the ice cream was so obnoxious. It's like you couldn't even. And I guess he does it on purpose. So he takes the spoon and then he flips it upside down and puts it on his tongue, right? And then as he pulls it out, he goes.
Oh my God.
And he said that he does that to get the air in his mouth because you need the oxygen or something like that, and then it makes sure that he gets the ice cream goes all over his whole tongue, not just on certain sections of
Okay,
his tongue.
right, yeah.
So he wants to get the whole flavor profile. But as I was watching this, how do they do whatever segment, I couldn't stop staring at his fucking mouth.
Yeah,
And
that's
it was
annoying.
disgusting.
Yeah, that's gross. That's gross. But again, I got to believe you'd get sick of the taste of ice cream, even ice cream or chips or whatever you're tasting if you have to have it every damn day.
right?
Oh yeah.
Cheese curds, I still can't eat them after summer working at Midway Stadium's concession stand.
Right.
'Cause you get to, you'd sneak one every once in a while, and every once in a while it turns into an entire baseball season. And by the end, you're throwing up at the thought of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Not a cheese curd guy.
Really?
Dude, I
Yeah.
had the cheese curds at Malone's on whatever the night that was, Saturday.
Yeah, how was takeaway cheese curds?
A+. They
Was
hold
it?
up. Yeah. The cheese curds, you got a 30-minute window with cheese curds. Once they get cold, obviously, then I'm not a big fan. But as long as they stay warm, I definitely had some on the way home before I dropped them off to the girls.
Yeah.
And then they were still good for 5-10 minutes after that. But those Malone's cheese curds are really, really, really good.
And they're curds, not sticks.
Curds, yeah.
Are cheese curds mozzarella?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't like cheese curds and I don't like mozzarella sticks.
Oh, those are two of my favorites.
That's weird. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
what's wrong
Two
with
of my
you?
faves.
Who was it here that said, or maybe it was a friend, where the girl on Tinder, I think it was a friend. The girl on Tinder said just her only part of her good-looking girl. Her bio was literally, "I don't like mozzarella sticks. If that's a deal breaker, swipe left." And I'm like,
Is that a deal breaker?
I think I would be, yeah, sure. Fuck.
Definitely not a deal breaker.
Yeah, I wouldn't think that's a deal breaker.
You guys are,
Just means more mozzarella sticks for you.
I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Right. You know?
I should
If
have
she
you.
said something like, I don't like penis,
Whoa.
then
Yeah.
swipe left.
Right.
If that's a problem.
well, that should
Yeah.
be.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, she might be
Well,
on the
more
wrong
penis for me then. I guess.
A great
right?
point for you. Yeah, good point. That's one way to look at it, man. I mean, glass half full.
And
Thank you. Well
mozzarella
done. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure that there's a food like that if I met a girl for the first time, she's like, you know what, I just don't do this food. I don't think there's any sort of deal breaker. Maybe Mexican. If she said I don't like tacos, but I like burritos and chimichangas.
Right.
But if she said it, I guess.
So you couldn't date the female version of me. That would drive you nuts.
No, I couldn't.
No, I agree.
couldn't.
Most gals
No.
shouldn't put up with the shit I do. I can't believe my wife has.
Yeah,
Not at all.
Fuck too.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. Trying to go out and
But
shit.
if it was just like cheese curds or mozzarella,
Sure.
fine, whatever. Then
Right.
we'll get the nachos or the wings. I don't care.
Right.
Ben, you ever had Skyline chili?
In Cincinnati?
Yeah.
No.
I had it this week.
Is it good?
It's so damn good. Man.
Really?
I just love it so much.
Explain what it is again.
It's spaghetti and then this very brown sugary style chili on top of the spaghetti and then a mound of cheese you can't believe. Like they go, it's absurd how much cheese they put on it. It's so good. But like they sell it by the can and they sell it frozen, this, that, and the other. It's just not the same, man. There's nothing that compares to getting it straight out of the restaurant and just consuming it and then having to take a nap because there's so much cheese. But damn, is that good?
So the chili itself,
Yeah.
is it like really a chili or is it like a different flavor than
It doesn't taste like chili at all to me. It tastes like some
So you wouldn't
brown
have
sugary
you wouldn't
thing.
have just the chili in a bowl with crackers.
No, it'd be almost too sweet, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Chili dogs and Skyline chili, man. They make these giant little. The chili dogs are only this long, are only about 3-4 inches long, but the mound of cheese on top of it, it's unbelievable.
So it's an
man.
Irish
it's
dog?
absurd. Yeah, it's just unbelievably good. So I couldn't see my dad anyway because of the coronavirus stuff, Mm-hmm. So I had a lot of time in between going to hang out with mom and then waiting and then going to hang out with mom and then waiting, So I went to my hometown to get her some clothes and stuff. As I was driving out of town, I drove by my high school. And so the school that I actually went to, my actual high school, has been torn down. But
Because of you?
it had something to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
They said, obviously we can't do any better than this. Let's just get rid of the whole school. But it had been our high school since 1909. And they tore it down and they built a brand new school. But the middle school part of it, they left standing, and they use it. They use the high school gymnasium, but they also use it as for the superintendent. Long story short, as I'm driving by, I always go by there just to look at it. I noticed that there's a door open on the middle school part of it, just kind of swinging in the wind. And I'm like, I haven't been in this building since I graduated high school because the gymnasium's where we graduated high school. So I park my car and I walk over, and I go through the door that's swinging open. And then I get to a second level door, and it's locked. I'm like, oh, well, screw it. So I start to turn around, I hear bzzz, click, and somebody buzzed me in. I'm like, sweet. So I walk in, and this lady comes around. She says, can I help you? And I told her, I used to go to school here, blah, blah, blah. She goes, well, feel free. Take a walk around, have a look. I went to my high school locker room. I walked through the gymnasium that I graduated in. I went to, and it was the coolest, man, because, again, I'm sure I've been a few times since I actually went to middle school there, but it's been a very long time since I walked into the boys' bathroom in my middle school and walked up to the little urinals.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I stood and peed at this urinal a million times, and now I'm almost 50 years old, man. It was a real freak out, man. It was really, really cool. And then she was nice enough. She said, you want to see the new school? I go, I'd love it. She goes, come on. So she went over, unlocked the new school for me, and let me take a look around and stuff like that. From my old school, the actual doorway was like a concrete thing that was really looked like almost Greek, and it said Jackson High School. And they took that from the old building before they tore the building down and placed it as the entrance to the new school.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really, really cool. And then she said, if you walk over there, there's the groupings of each class. So, 84, 85, 86. And I found the high school class 89, the year I graduated. And I had forgotten, or I just hadn't thought about it until I looked at that picture. I was the high school treasurer for my class. I was the treasurer of my class.
Remember.
I had completely forgotten that. Can you imagine me?
No.
I was the treasurer
You're
of
the
my
treasurer.
class. I was.
No.
I know.
But what does that even mean? Like,
I
what
don't
did you
think
even do?
it must not have meant anything because I don't remember doing anything. I just remember running for office to be the high school treasurer and winning it, but I don't remember ever doing anything.
It was probably something like, hey, the budget for this fall dance is $300. Just keep track of the money we spend.
Yeah, right.
So it's like 4 expenses, and you're like, I added it all up. We're under budget.
I don't
And that
remember
was the
doing
end
anything.
of it.
I'm sure I
Yeah.
didn't do anything. I'm sure I
No.
didn't. I just was the treasure in name only. But there I
Or
was.
someone else secretly did it because they didn't trust.
Because they didn't trust me to do it, which is absolutely right. Yeah.
It was just a pickup line, right? Want to know what it's like to be with a treasurer? Want to sleep with a high school treasurer?
Look at me. I'm very electable.
Hey, yeah, obviously you did the right thing, and you got to do what you got to do. But and I saw a little piece of this a couple months ago as well. But it's how frustrating is it to have a parent on the brink of death,
Yeah.
or you think they're on the brink
for
of
sure.
death,
Yeah.
and you have zero access to them.
the worst.
The worst. How helpless, right? You're just like this. If he goes, I don't get to see him.
Yeah.
It's just over.
And
it's bizarre.
It's terrible. And my mom, when I was almost there, she said, "So here's what we'll do. When you get here, I'll leave, and then you come in and see him." And I said, "We're not allowed." She said, "No, it's only one person every 24 hours." And I said, "So if I come in, you can't come back for 24 hours?" She said, "Yeah." And I said, "That's not why I'm here.
yeah.
No, there's no chance." She said, "But I want you to see him." And I said, "I want to see him too. Don't get me wrong. But he needs you in there more than he needs me in there." So I never got to see him, but which is fine. But she FaceTimed me and stuff, and then she would put me on the speakerphone when the doctor would come in, so I could hear what they were saying and everything like that.
Sure.
But, man, it's so obviously, Corey, you they're there and then they're not. It's the weirdest damn thing.
Yep.
I really, when I left here on Tuesday, I thought I was going home to say goodbye to my dad, and the whole way I'm driving, I'm thinking, well, how in the hell am I going to deal with this? And the weirdest thing about it, Corey. The weirdest thing is the whole way I'm driving down there, I'm thinking, I know I should be sadder than I am right now, but this just doesn't feel real. I can't believe what the hell is going on. And then I get there, and I didn't know for sure yet. On my way down, I wasn't sure if I was going to get to see him. And there was a huge part of me that was afraid to see my dad. Because I didn't want to see him like that. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
But I would have, and I want to. But another part of me is the chicken shit.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to walk into that room. My dad, he might be dying right there, The emotions were many and very unexpected.
I had a similar moment, and I'll just admit it too, 100% chicken shit because I was fucking terrified. So my mom got home to hospice for the last 22 hours of her life. So similar thing where 5-6 days she was in the hospital and we weren't sure she was going to get out, and I had no access to her.
Yeah.
So I'm like, she's going to die in the hospital and we're never going to get her out. So we got her home for the last 22 hours. So I pulled up almost exactly when on Thursday, the day before she died. I pulled up almost exactly when the ambulance pulled up to drop her off for the whatever.
Right.
But me and Angie and the ambulance beat the medical supply company by about 15 minutes.
Okay.
So she didn't have a bed yet in the house, which is fine because, with the ambulance admitted they were a couple minutes ahead of schedule. So the other people weren't late. The ambulance was just a little early. Mm-hmm. So they didn't have a place to put her yet, a permanent place. They just had the bed that she was in. So for about 15 minutes, she was in the ambulance in the driveway, and we were all waiting for the bed. And my dad would go in and visit her, and he kept saying, brace yourself. It doesn't look like your mom. Because, again, she looked like she was already dead. It was fucking awful. But at this point, I hadn't seen her, and I didn't want to go in the ambulance. Right. I'm like, I know I'm going to see her when she gets in there, but I'm like, there was that moment of, I could hear her struggling. I'm like, I don't want to see this.
No.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to because you're an adult.
And you're going to be glad you did.
And I know it was going to happen. I'm like, I might be 15 minutes away from seeing her, but I'm going to stall this shit out as long as I can because I don't want to face what I'm about to see.
Yeah.
And then you see it and you're like, fuck. And it never felt real. That 24 hours to me was just 100% like a blur and surreal. Even when she died, I'm sitting next to her dead body and I'm like, you're like, I don't know. It's just weird. Like, it just doesn't feel like she's really dead, even though you're staring at her and she's done breathing. And you're like, this is just, it's a whole thing's a trip. But I wouldn't have traded any of those moments for a hospital like COVID death.
Sure. Yeah, man. No doubt. Right.
Then a week and a half later, when we went through with my wife's dad, he got diagnosed with COVID on Friday. We went and visited him on Sunday through a window. And then he died on Wednesday. So the closest we got to, quote, visiting him in the last 3 months, because once they were on lockdown, we hadn't seen him in months, was we waved to him through a window. So when we get the call that he's dead, it's like, oh. And you just have to, it's weird. It's like
it's impossible.
Take their word for it. Like,
I know. Yeah,
he's dead now. And we're like, whoa, I guess that makes sense. sure.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't feel real because you didn't see it happen.
Yeah.
It's very strange. I'm super thankful that my mom got out for 24 hours. We didn't know if she was going to last a day or 5 days or a week or whatever, but we knew it was close to over. But we didn't know if my wife's dad was going to survive or not. He didn't. That was the final nail in the coffin with the COVID stuff. But just two very weird, different situations within a week and a half. But obviously, my mom had zero COVID issues, but just the fact that COVID existed made those 6 days a nightmare. My dad didn't have access to her. Luckily, your mom has access to your dad, but my dad didn't have access for the
Really?
first. Yeah, they at that point, because this was what, middle of April.
Okay, yeah.
So we were only like a month into hardcore COVID stuff.
Yeah.
And at that point, their policy was like, unless death is imminent, they restrict access greatly. So once they knew that there was no turning back and that my mom she had hours or days left, then they started giving my dad access, but that was it.
Wow.
That was it. And it was super frustrating. So,
But you understand, right? Like I was standing there. I'm waiting to go in just to the visiting area so I could talk to my mom.
Yep.
And there was a guy arguing with his security guy because the whole group of people wanted to go up and see his uncle.
Yep.
And I'm just I'm thinking, this guy he can't help it. He's following the rules. And I understand you're really freaked out, and I get it, but there's nothing you can do about it, man. You can't be mad at this poor guy. He's just doing his job, you know. I tried to be as patient with him as I could.
And it's not like that's breaking news, right? That guy had to have known.
Yeah.
If you have somebody in the hospital right now, there's restrictions.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
I mean, that's just how it works. It is super frustrating. Everybody hates it.
Yeah, yeah.
To your point, you don't think that hospital guy hates it?
No.
He knows he wants to go see your uncle or whatever the hell it is, right? Everybody wants to go see him.
Every person that comes in there is mad at that guy.
Yeah.
There's
that's
nothing
what I
he
was
can do about it.
thinking.
Every person.
I never thought about that until you guys were bringing it up. Like, he's got to deal with that while he's on the job, and then he's also got to walk away with all these stories because people aren't just like, they're not just saying, "Oh, I guess I understand the policy." No, they're pleading with you,
begging,
and they're going to tell you. And other situations, he's not hearing these people's stories. Yeah. Like he's not hearing all these people crying to him, saying like, "I need to see my mom," or "I need to see my dad. I haven't seen X, Y, and Z," and whatever. And you have to filter all that. You have to deal with all those people's problems every day.
Right.
Every day.
Every day.
Even though you're just doing your job of like just basically saying, you can't do this. Like you can't. I'm the messenger, but yet you're going to unload all of your feelings and life story on me to try to convince me to let you go.
And everybody's looking to be the exception, right? Just let me go.
Exactly. So every story is going to be more heartbreaking because they're hoping to tug at your heartstrings, be like, all right, yeah, go ahead.
But we had the same thought. It sounds like you had the same plan that my siblings had too. Is that although all of us wanted to see my mom, once my dad got access, we knew that if she never got home, at least she was with him. And that's why I thought you did the right thing. Again, everybody does it differently, but I think that's the right thing too. Is if it's only going to be one of us, you got to make the choice.
Yeah, for sure.
As long as your mom is there, that's better than having him theoretically die by himself, which is what no one should go through.
You brought this up on the show today, Corey. About what Hawk listened to on the way down there. Mm-hmm. And Hawk, I want to ask you, because you said you listened to an audiobook. I don't know if you're like me, but when I've been close to losing relatives or losing, like going to a funeral or whatever, I can't listen to music.
Right.
Because if I listen to any song, I instantly connect. I mean, there's so many songs now that I don't want to say ruined because that, but I listen to it and I go, I'm immediately brought back to this and that. And so I just can't imagine 13 hours on the road. But if I were you, if I was in the situation, I wouldn't have listened to one song because that's all I would have thought.
I didn't listen to music at all. I listened to an audio book quite a bit, but I also drove in silence quite a bit, and I didn't answer the fucking phone at all. Mm-hmm. I didn't tell anybody, except for you guys, that I was going or why I was going or anything like that. And I don't know why either. Not that it's anybody's business, and not that I'm, and everybody handles things differently. But for me, I was like, I do not know how to talk to anybody about this.
Right.
So I do not want to talk to anybody about this. I don't know what I'm doing right now. I have no idea how the hell to deal with what I'm dealing with right now. We all have to go through it, sadly, but The whole drive down there was just me trying to, if Dad dies, how am I going to help Mom? If I get to see Dad before he dies, what am I going to say to him? She's.
Yep.
It's an impossible thing. It's impossible, and it's impossible to believe, man. I know that's so dumb, but you just can't believe it actually happens to you. Aren't there so many situations in your life where you wander around in the solar system and you're like, well, that's happening to that person, but that would never happen to me.
Oh yeah.
And then it does. Of course it does.
1,000 things.
Of course it does.
Well, especially with death,
to
everybody. It's the one inevitable that everybody's going to face.
Yeah. Right.
Especially with our parents, they're like, okay, well, they're all getting up there. Like,
Yeah.
it's very possible that something could happen. Let me bring a little bit of levity to this.
Sure, please.
Only because it. This story was brought to our attention just this weekend, and I know it's not completely applicable, but I think it's just kind of a cute, fun story. So our friend, she works in hospice, so she's a hospice nurse, and so I mean the amount of stories that come out, it's wild.
What a thing she does.
Wild, right?
What a
To
thing.
see people and how they die on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
But she said the cutest, funniest thing happened over the weekend. So this 95-year-old lady that they had to take care of, she passes away. Well, everybody, usually in hospice, everybody has the families or according to their wills, they have funeral clothes. Not the clothes that they're going to be wearing at the actual funeral, but on the way from the hospice to the funeral home to get prepped for
I didn't
the
know
funeral,
that.
right?
Huh, okay.
So they just don't want to be just like in regular clothes. It could be something meaningful, whatever. So this lady passes away. They open up her. She has a bag of funeral clothes, and it's lingerie with a thong.
Come on.
And the note in there
At 95 years old?
the note in there said she hadn't seen her husband in 36 years, and she wants to look good for him when she sees him.
That's hilarious.
Are you kidding me?
And it's like
That's funny.
How
that's-
wonderful.
How awesome is that?
Wow.
So
they
wait a
address-
minute. I get respecting the wishes of the people who have passed away, but are they essentially then required to actually put her in that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Are you
So
kidding
they
me?
dress. So she's dead, and they take her out of the clothes that she was in, and they put this lingerie with this thong on.
Wow.
And then that's what
Okay.
she was in
Wait.
when the funeral home came to pick her up.
Come on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Wow.
obvious follow-up question. Did this friend of yours take pictures?
Somebody had to ask it, thank God.
Like you want to be like, oh, it's gross, but oh, so cute at the same
But I
time.
have to see that.
Yeah,
Wow.
like she hadn't seen her husband in 30-some years, and she wants to look good for him.
Wow. That's
And
really
she put it in
cool.
her directive.
So we
Wow.
had in those 22 hours they had a rotation. I think it was like 3 different gals throughout the 22 hours, and then they were just about to do a shift change when my mom died. So technically we had like a 2-nurse overlap. One of them was crying, and we kind of even asked her about it. We're like, "How can you do this job if you're crying?" And she's like, I think I may have even said this once the week afterwards. She's like, the goods of the job outweigh the bads, but she's like, these are people, and sometimes I know them for a week, sometimes I know them for a day, but like it still hits me.
Sure.
I'm like, I don't know how you can do this
Yeah,
and
yeah.
care this much. And then the other gal was like smoking heaters in the driveway, and she was just like flat out like, yeah, death doesn't bother me. Like she honestly, it didn't faze her one bit.
Wow.
And she was the one who was on duty when my mom actually died. So she was the one who's like, this is an exaggeration, but she was basically like, yeah, can't find a pulse. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is all business out of this lady.
Wow.
That's a slight exaggeration.
Yeah,
but,
right.
but it was that blunt though, just like, yeah, there's nothing. We're like, oh, okay, that was pretty matter of fact. So I don't, much like we've always talked about, like funeral directors or morticians or whatever, you got to be a different breed to just be
Yeah.
comfortable around that, because I don't know how you balance. You are by definition always dealing with people who are devastated, right, on a daily
Yeah.
basis. You're
frightened.
You're constantly around
Yeah.
terrified or devastated people. It's just nonstop depression. How do you navigate that and stay sane?
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know how you do it. I don't have the mental capacity for
No.
that. I can't do that.
But I tell you, man, a lot of times those people help the family so much, right? Like, because they can tell you, okay, here's what's going to happen. Here's
Yep.
what you're going to see. Here's what you're not going to see. Here's how it's going to happen. I mean, to be around it that constantly and to recognize the moments, what an incredible thing. And I wonder how you how you compartmentalize your thoughts on the afterlife if you see that every day. You know?
Right.
I don't know.
I don't either.
So the other thing that talking to our friend, we just learned so much about all this stuff. And most times she says hilarious stories, but I never thought about this either. She goes, there is an absolute difference between paying more for a good funeral home versus a cheap funeral home. And she's like, some of the good ones, the attendants will be there in full on. Like there's this one, I don't want to say the company because I don't want to get it wrong. But she said there's one like high end one that everybody would know that these two girls, semi-attractive girls, are in like almost like really nice business attire. Like, and they're the ones that come, do everything at hospice, and then take the body away. There are others where it's like just two dudes that show up in like T-shirts and shorts, and they're like, "Yeah, we're with such
Like
and
movers.
such." Yeah,
Yeah.
And they're like, some treat it very respectful, almost like it is a complete business transaction, very, very put together, and they make the families feel really good. And others just kind of like, "Yeah, we're here for the body. We're just gonna take it away."
Wow.
And she's like, it makes a difference
Hell yeah, it
because
does.
you're like, oh, you're gonna wheel my loved one away, and you guys just don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, I will admit that was one of the weirdest moments for me is how quickly the world wipes you clean after you're dead. Is the funeral home, the guy who runs the funeral home was there to pick my mom up 30 minutes later, and he knew we had to wait like another 30 because we were waiting for my aunts to get from Wisconsin to say goodbye to her. 30, 40 minutes later, he's in the driveway, and we're talking business. And he was ready to take her. I mean, she was out of the house within an hour. And it is just all right, let's...
Well, you said you and your dad were in the same room that night watching...
It was the weirdest thing, man. We were watching the NFL draft 8 hours after she was dead, and it's weird. If a family member died in your living room, you would be tripping balls. But we had watched it 8 hours earlier, and it was like we were both dozing off on the couch because it was a long, obviously draining, emotional day. But just everything was gone. The bed was gone. The oxygen tank, like all of the medical supplies had been picked up, and it was just like they had erased her. It was just like she's gone. She's out of the house. All the stuff's gone, and it's just like, God, it's been a half a day, and the world didn't stop for a second, and it just trips you out because, to your point, Chris, you're like, this is supposed to be other people.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen to me. And then when it happens, you're like, man, I'm going to get erased this fast too.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do about it.
Right.
Your family's going to be devastated, but the rest of the world just keeps rolling, doesn't care for one split second that you're gone. Which
Crazy.
is whatever.
Yeah.
It's depressing and kind of awesome at the same time.
That's the way we deal with it, though, man.
Yeah.
Right? You know, it goes back to I told you guys about that article I read where they were researching when people started burying people, because they wanted to find out when we became conscious that we're alive and then we're dead. You know, because at some point there was a change. You know, at one point you didn't even realize, like a cat doesn't realize it's alive or dead, and we were the same at one point. You know, and they've kind of realized that at the people started putting dead bodies in the same area of this cave, and they think it was just because the human brain, maybe even the animal brain, is just, that thing's dead, get me away from it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That thing over there is no, and I need to not be anywhere near that right now. And I think that's probably on a grander scale, the situation where you got to, the world keeps on moving. You got to take care of business and let the people who are alive continue living.
Well, don't they say that about domesticated animals? That they still have this innate... I heard this a lot with cats. Like if you have an outdoor cat...
Yeah.
And it knows it's going to die.
Yeah.
It goes away.
Yeah.
It wants to get away from the family.
Yeah,
it's like,
sure.
let me just go do this, and I'm just going to go die.
Yeah, right.
All by myself. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But I think there's a part of us, I think, animalistically, that you do want to separate yourself from the people that you're around.
Yeah.
Well, how many stories have we heard of people going, like they're in hospice for a week, and somebody steps out for a glass of water.
Yep.
And then
that's when they
go.
Yep.
It's
you don't want to die in front of your kids, so you wait till they're out of the room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right. I don't know, man.
Happened to me.
Is that what happened too?
Yeah.
Right?
So when I left the show that day, because again, she had gotten to my parents' house on a Thursday, and I was obviously there and spent all day Thursday there. And then because we didn't know if she was going to last 2 minutes or 5 days, I'm like, well, I'm going to go to work in the morning. If something happens, I'll bail out of work immediately. If Well, hell, I'm like the second if I get the call at 2 a.m, I'll head right back up here. So it was one of those bits. They had said that she had struggled a little bit, like at 7 o'clock. That's when I was like checking texts. They're like, we don't know, something's going on. And then she had kind of calmed down. They morphined her up again, and she had gone back to basically to sleep because she was sleeping for most of the 22 hours. And so they're like, just hold off. It looks like she's all right for now. So I'm like, all right, as soon as the initials is over, I'm getting out of here then, because who knows if she's got 10 hours or 10 minutes. Don't know.
Right.
I got up to my parents' house by about like 9:15. Spent like, I don't know, 30, 40 minutes sitting with her. Went outside to talk to my brother and sister. So she was just with my dad, and she was dead like 4 minutes later.
Yeah, see?
So I just missed the window. And we had just been talking in the driveway for a couple minutes, and she had, she was sleeping, and she had zero clue I was there, but it's just the timing was kind of creepy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe some part of her did. I don't know. I hear that all the time. Yeah.
And you get that all, and the hospice nurses were saying that too. They're like, she was just waiting for you to get here. And I'm like, I doubt that, but that's a nice thing to say, but I don't think it actually happens.
I don't know. I think that there's something to that. Like, I think that if your dad tells her, even though she's asleep or unconscious, that Corey's going to be here in a few minutes, I do think that there's a part of the brain that recognizes that.
Maybe, but we had also all of us had been there Thursday when she was in that same state. And and my dad, this is the most heartbreaking part of the whole thing. My dad had been basically telling her to let go all morning. My sister literally went out into the driveway because she couldn't listen to my dad say that anymore. Because he didn't want to see her suffer anymore. So you watch, that's your heart's almost breaking more for your dad than your mom because he's got to live with it whenever it's over. He's got to live with it, and he was just begging her to basically die at the end just because it was dicey.
Yeah,
it sucks, man. The whole thing sucks. Getting old sucks. Your parents getting old sucks. Death sucks. Pringles aren't great.
Longevity, man. We got to figure out a way to get it.
Yeah,
we're doing good things with our medicine, but man, I would love to live to 150 years old, as long as I was like
quality of life, right?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, we got to start working on curing death more.
I just want to find peace.
I wonder if can we just do cell transplants instead of just blood transplants? Can't we just get young people's cells in our system?
Right.
And just keep regenerating? Who knows? Just do something. Otherwise, just make me a robot. I don't give a rat's ass.
It's a fascinating technology, man. I mean, the Neuralink that Elon Musk is doing,
who knows?
I don't know much about it. What is he doing? What's the gist of it?
His other program or other company that he has is Neuralink, and basically they've figured. He said they're within a couple of years of actually doing this. Now this is more for actual, let's just say like Parkinson's or something like that, right? But he said eventually they're going to get the technology is going to grow exponentially like it does everything else, and we're going to be able to communicate without talking to each other. Like if you have a chip in your brain and I have a chip in my brain, we could telepathically talk to each other. That's terrifying. Their technology is going to get so good that they'll be able through technology to basically find disease and wipe it out inside your body. But he said, it's like a little bit of a slit in your skull, and they implant this thing they cut out a little chunk of your skull, and let's say for like Parkinson's or something like that, and this chip goes in there, and I'm not explaining it very well, but basically it'll basically cure you from that disease.
Imagine.
Doesn't this feel like a Jurassic Park thing, though? Because if you could use it for that singular reason, just to truly cure disease, to identify disease way before other tests, all of that's great. But there's just so many evil things you could start thinking about off the top of your head. Like,
for sure.
If we can telepathically communicate without having to speak, think of how many there's just so many other things that I think come off of that are probably going to be gigantic nightmares.
If I remember right, they do think it's possible for some of these chips to be placed in the right centers of your brain, like the correct, like let's say the language center, and you could have this procedure done and speak fluent German afterwards.
Wow.
I mean, again, not to go full Black Mirror on it here, but are those hackable?
Could be.
Like, sure. I would start thinking about those kind of problems. Like, you guys what season of Homeland was it? Where I think it was Homeland, where like the vice president had like his pacemaker hacked. Was that Homeland? It was Homeland. And it's like, think about that. Like, you know, if you can get somebody's medical device to shut down because it's on some kind of a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah, right.
That's terrifying. Hey, sweet, it can help me with my Parkinson's, but if anybody wants to turn me off at any time, they just flip a switch.
Like they have a technology now, not through Elon's company, but they have a technology now that you swallow this tiny pill. It's a camera, and it'll take a scan and a picture of the inside of your stomach. So like people have ulcers or whatever.
Sure.
That's
it'll
great.
Like they can remote control this camera, and it'll like take pictures of like real time pictures of the inside of the
What's that movie again? From
Magic
the 80s?
School Bus.
Martin Short, right?
Inner Space.
Inner Space.
Inner Space. I never saw it. I just know the
love that
concept.
Great movie,
Yeah.
man. Yeah. Wade, I know.
Same idea though.
What
The actor or the character?
The actor
was
who,
Dennis Quaid?
Dennis Quaid.
Yeah.
Not Wade. Quaid. Yeah, you're right. That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
Never saw it. It's good though.
Oh,
It is
yeah,
good.
hell
It's
yeah, man.
fascinating,
It's fun. Yeah, he goes inside there. Yeah.
Yeah, basically he's got like a little pod that has like little tools on it and stuff,
yeah,
and you can go in there and like fix things in people's body. And
Yeah,
whatever.
man.
Yeah. Anyway,
I don't know.
Just thinking of the filthy messages Hawkwood sent me
Oh, yeah.
telepathically.
Oh, you better believe it.
Full circle. Think about what you just said, right? We're talking telepathically through brains and fixing diseases and identifying diseases, and we can't get a fucking Pringles can where we can fit our hand into it.
Ridiculous.
Right?
It's getting to be goddamn ridiculous.
Stacks taste better.
Yeah.
The bottle's the same, essentially.
Yeah.
Look,
I need more room.
whose hand can fit in there?
How do you package it though, man? They've been talking about this for years.
Just put them in a
mystery.
bag.
Had all the
mankind.
best experts working on this.
Just put those in a bag. I would eat them out of a bag. They don't have to be in a Mitch Hedberg tennis ball can. Come on.
I
They
bet there's
taste
a
better.
reason.
They
I bet they
in a
taste better
can.
like this.
Yeah, they don't break at all.
I wonder what the reason is. Is
They
it just
keep
marketing?
the seasoning stacked up. There's a reason.
I'm super curious what that is because if it's not marketing, I wonder what it is.
I'll get somebody from the Pringles
call them.
people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
once
See if
shelf
we-
space too, man. Save
Oh, yeah.
shelf space.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye.
Bye,
All right,
everybody.
guys.
Peace out.